Okay, what we're looking at here is the left front suspension to my 1968 MGC GT. The teardown of the suspension pieces is pretty basic, and the manual that I have covers it all pretty well, but I wanted to cover a couple things that I found to be a little bit tricky, that weren't really covered too well. The first bit is when you're starting the whole project, I found it easiest to start with the torsion bar underneath and loosen that. So you go to the back underneath, and there's a coupling back here that connects the torsion bar and tightens it. Let me get that. So right back here, if you loosen up this nut and give some slack to the torsion bar, it makes it easier to pull apart the pieces in the front. So that's what I did. Now back at the front, there was a couple other tricky parts. First of all, these on the upper pivot points, there's some cotter pins that are, I don't know if you can't see that right now, but yeah, there's a cotter pin right there on this one still. They're pretty much rusted in there, so I had to basically just clip them off and then use my wrench and a hammer to just break them off and spin the nut off. There's a castle nut that goes on the end. So that was kind of difficult, but so I expect if they've been on there a long time, they're going to be rusted, and it's going to be hard to get that cotter pin out. After I loosened up the torsion bar, I took the front half of the A-arm, the lower A-arm, off. It's this piece right here that was connected up under here, just like that. So I took the nut off the pivot here, and then there's two nuts and bolts holding right here and here, and then there's the connection to, oh, you can't see it, the connection that goes through the lower bushing on the shock absorber, and then the final one is the lower trunnion, the right here. So you take all those off, and this lower A-arm half will come off. Okay, now the easiest way I found to get the two upper halves apart enough so that I could get all the pieces dislodged is to just work them back and forth, kind of stick a screwdriver in between the two halves and pry it gently apart. Use a rubber mallet to hit hit the bolts that go through and push through, and then just keep on working it back and forth to get these halves to separate enough to get the spindle out. And once you get that out, it's pretty easy to separate these further and take them completely apart.